Alrighty, so today we're drawing Hylics fan art, and I know what you must be thinking. Twins, what is this? Because nothing is more useful for a YouTuber or any kind of content creator to make fan art of something that is incredibly niche. Way to go, me. Hylix is a game, you can get it on Steam for like $3. There's a second game as well, and I think it's really great. I really like Hylix a lot, and I originally got introduced to it through Nitro Rad's reviews of it. I will have links to those in the description, because those are really great videos. All of his stuff is really good. And I just really dig the feel of Hylix. I decided to do fan art of it before I actually even played the game, but I wanted it to feel authentic. I wanted to properly capture, like, the vibe of Hylix. So I played the game, and it was absolutely worth the $3 I spent on Steam to get it. So, yeah, we're just drawing some chill fan art of Wayne. That's this character. All of the characters have really difficult names for me. Wayne is easy. Wayne's an easy one, but I'm definitely gonna say their names wrong if I try. But yeah, just a chill Wayne. Something I wanted to do for this picture is, the primary thing I was looking to do is I wanted really dark shading. So that'll be really exciting when we get to it. Until then, let me actually tell you a little bit about Hylix, because I realized that this is a game most of you probably aren't familiar with, so yeah, I figured I'd let you in on, like, the deal. So it's all done in, like, claymation, which is automatically gives it a really cool, unique feeling to it, and also it feels so different because of that. And it's an RPG. It's interesting. The only way you can level up is you have to die, and then you in, like, the afterlife, you put meat into a meat grinder, and that'll level you up. At first, the game was actually really hard. Being sort of a classic RPG in a way, it didn't really give you any, like, indication on what exactly you had to do. It was kind of just go forward in a way. And at first I was so weak that I couldn't kill anything. I just kept getting murdered by the coneheads in the mountain, and I didn't know what to do about that. Eventually, what I did was I ran around the coneheads for a little bit, and picked up a bunch of cash, until I finally had enough money to afford a new weapon. And then that was when the game really began. So while the first couple of hours was me floundering around the mountain, getting murdered by coneheads, once you get a new weapon and are able to, like, defeat enemies and level up, it's a pretty easy game, gotta say. It's also interesting because enemies don't respawn. Like, once you kill them, they're dead for good. Not in a tragic way. There's just only a set number of enemies you can kill, which makes, like, capping out your levels really easy, because just clear out an area and you're good. So yeah. It's also cool because you can get your party members in whatever order you want. The first one I got was, bad with the names, I'm gonna call him the guy with the green head. I got them first, and that was really cool. I expected the girl to be the healer, because, oh, it's an RPG, the girl's always the healer, yada yada. No, she does, like, massive attack damage, which was super rad. I got the red guy last, which, here's a pro tip for any of you who may want to play Hylix. Try to get him earlier than I did, because he makes you immune to the slimes that kill you in one touch. And that was really cool for me to know, and then it did, but by then I didn't need to fight them anymore, so yeah, just a pro tip there. Other pro tips include, don't forget to sleep on the couch after you die. There's a couch in the afterlife. And if you forget to sleep on that, then you come back to life with 1 HP, so yeah. So don't forget to do that. Also, this is another really important tip. So if you play the game, you will encounter an area with a guy who refuses to let you pull a switch. He's like, don't pull that, I won't let you do that. Don't look it up. Trust me. Just don't look up what happens when you pull the switch. It's post-game, technically, and you'll appreciate it better if you don't get it spoiled for you. Here we are, Twins' hot gaming tips. Something interesting for the picture that I've done here. If you've seen any of my other drawn outs, you may have noticed that I did what I never do, in that I started with the background. I wanted the color palette for the world established before I started coloring Wayne here, because I wanted a very specific vibe for the picture. I wanted it to feel hot and kind of late in the day. And since establishing that kind of feel, that color atmosphere, was important to establish first, because the rest of the image kind of followed suit after that. Like, for example, I didn't really know what color I wanted to make his chair before I started, but once I got my color palette of the world figured out, I was able to figure out, like, okay, cool, so a blue chair would look good. It contrasts the sort of yellows of not only Wayne, but also the sky. So yeah, tip, always offering tips, aren't I? But yeah, a tip is, don't be afraid to do things out of your usual order. Just because sometimes you need to do things a little bit differently. Here's this really dark shading I was talking about earlier. I'm not going to, like... Usually what I do is, I lay down shading and I set it to multiply, and it just does some simple, quick cell shading. I'm not doing that here. This, like, really dark blue, this is staying, because, like I said, I wanted it to feel late in the day. And the shadows, when it's hot, or when it is nearing sunset, a good way to convey that is with really dark shadows. It makes the light feel brighter. If you want to convey a bright light, shadows will be darker. And that was really it. Like, when I initially thought to do Hylics Fan Art, that was the primary thing I wanted, was to just really convey this sort of chill, afternoon, almost evening vibe that you get so often in the game. It was a fun kind of experiment, because, I don't usually do stuff like this. Most of my stuff is characters floating around a colorful background. And something interesting about Drawn Out is I'm allowing myself, for the first time, to be okay with deviating from my usual more. I don't know why, but here we are. I'm not afraid to do different things more often. And I suggest you strive to do the same. Of course, don't do something you don't want to do. If doing something like this, for example, doesn't interest you and you would rather, like, draw pretty characters standing in front of a background, that's so okay. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do in art, unless, you've got, like, an assignment, but that's beside the point. but yeah, just draw what you want to draw. Do what you want to do. And the more that I do Drawn Out, the more I'm kind of making myself think like that. Because it's easy to do the same thing. It's safe to do the same thing, something you're good at. But it can also be very rewarding to deviate from that, to try and do things a little bit differently, to push your boundaries. So yeah, don't be afraid to try something different just because you may not have as much experience with it. This shine is really fun. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, like, add this highlight at first, but I figured, I'll just test it out, see what happens, and I like it a lot. It gives everything a nice level of dimension. I feel that it was missing before. So that's another thing. You can always just delete a layer, you can always erase something. Don't be afraid to test out, an idea you have. It may not work out, and that's okay, you know? No harm, no foul. Now you know that it doesn't work, kind of a thing. So by the way, this is Wayne's house that I've drawn, or rather his backyard, because the house was a weird shape. But that's why he's got like those silly trees. Those are herbs that you can pick up. Pro tip, every time you die, you can go back to Wayne's house and get herbs. So those'll keep you healthy. Or I think they're actually vegetables. But either way, yeah. I really like Hylix. I'm excited for nobody to watch this video because I've picked an incredibly niche game to make fan art of. But if you did watch it, I hope you liked it, and have a great day.